Hi folks, John DiCiomo here from Drumland, and in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble and tune this awesome Yamaha Stage Custom drum set. Congratulations! You just bought your very first drum set. Now you need to know what to do to set it up, tune, and enjoy playing. Well, we're going to show you how to do that right now. Welcome friends, my name's John DiCiomo, owner of Drumland here in Woodbridge, Ontario, and we are using today the Yamaha Stage Custom as our setup example. So, let's begin. All right, so we've got the drum heads on the drums, and now we're going to put together the hardware. So drum sets consist of a kick pedal, a snare stand, hi-hat stand, and one or more cymbal stands. If you have a double bass kit, then you'll have two kick pedals or a double kick pedal. If you have more hi-hats, you can use like a remote hi-hat or an X-hat. But for our demonstration today, I am going to show you how to set up the kick pedal, snare stand, hi-hat stand, and the two cymbal stands that come included with the Yamaha Stage Custom kit. So for our demonstration with the Yamaha Stage Custom, we are using the 700 series, which is a single braced tripod. And they also utilize chain on the kick pedal. So let's begin. You take your trusty drum key, just keep it handy. What we want to do first is put the radius rod inside the two holes here. This will stabilize the foot pedal. Then we take the beater with our key, insert it into the hole here, give it a little bit of space down here, use your key and tighten it up like so. Once we attach the kick pedal to the bass drum, we will see where the beater will line up to the drum head, and ideally you'd want it in the center of the head, hit the sweet spot. On the side here, you'll see that there's a tension spring, so that gives you the resistance and when you are depressing on the foot pedal. So looser the spring, looser the throw, but that also will affect the rebound. So we'll get to that as we attach the kick pedal to the bass drum. Other than that, it's a nice pedal. It's basic. It's got the attachment here, the toque, the bass drum counter hoop clamp. So in our next segment, I'll show you that it just slides into the hoop and you secure it with this wing screw. Moving now on to the snare stand. What we want to do is extend the tripod so that we are working from a secure foundation. Always start with the tripod. Then you want to just simply turn this to finger tight. And I say finger tight, you don't really need to reef on it. There are bushings inside here that will secure it, but they're generally plastic, nylon. They will crack, they will break if you reef on them. So really no need to over tighten, just enough so that, you know, this tripod's not going to open up and collapse. Then we have the basket portion of the snare stand. and you just simply move this, expand the three arms. Underneath, you have a locking nut. And this one is made out of plastic. There are ones that are made out of metal. Different series, different manufacturers, they'll have different parts. But they all do the same thing, and that is to secure the snare drum on the stand. Here we have another key bolt, and that's for tilt adjustment. Some stands will have a ball and socket here for more positioning. This particular stand will go this way. And of course, we have another wing screw here for height adjustment. Big rubber feet, it's great. Keep things secure. You can also expand the tripod here if you want to give it some real stability. And that's basically it in terms of snare stands for the Stage Custom series. I had mentioned that this was the 700 series, which is a single braced. There are other ones, other stands that are double braced, which means that there's actually two legs. Again, for just a heavier base and more support. So moving along, we are now going to take a look at the cymbal stands. So again, you want to open up the tripod and expand that. Give yourself a good base. And notice here that, I'm going to turn this so that they're in line. Some stands will have just one tier. This is a two tier here, so for added height. And this stand is really cool because here we're looking at a straight stand, but now if we just extend this upper portion, we now have a boom stand. And what's great about this is that with the boom stand, you can bring the cymbals in closer to you. You don't have to extend out, overreach to hit the cymbal comes to you, and you have the option of having a straight stand or a boom. So with this, you can position it wherever you like. This utilizes gears. You can hear the little teeth and gears. So some use gearless. Yamaha in this particular series has the gears, so you can feel it, and it's just basically a notch, multiple notches inside. And position it where you like. Again, no need to over tighten. When you are placing the cymbal, and we'll show more on how to do this in the next segment, you want to remove the wing nut, remove the top felt. Notice here that there is a cymbal sleeve. Very important to protect your cymbals, because as you hit the cymbal and it's moving, or breathing as we call it, it will be grinding up against the threads of the cymbal stand. So having this little part here is very important to protect your cymbals and protect the cymbal stand. Also, if you notice that it's attached here, so it's actually one piece, this will support the cymbal in place. The other thing too with the felts, these are rather thick felts. If you wanted to save yourself some money and not buy thin felts, just take a knife or a pair of scissors and just simply cut them in half, and then you have a thin felt. The next item is the hi-hat stand. And this one This stand is where we receive the most questions. How do I set up the hi-hat stand? So, what we do is we first open up the base so that we have a secure platform. And when we open up the tripod, we want it so that, all rubber feet are firmly on the ground and it's not wobbling. Then we just simply turn the wing screw, secure it, good start. Next, we take the radius rod, squeeze 2 rods, insert inside the holder, and now we have our bottom portion of the hi-hat stand. Next, we take the upper pull rod that's usually contained inside the upper tube to protect it. We just simply screw it in like this. Then we take our upper tube, slide it over, slide it down. Got a memory clamp here. We can adjust it to whatever height we like and simply tighten here. Here we have the hi-hat clutch. And what we do is we will attach the or insert the one hi-hat cymbal, which I'll show you in the next segment when we're adding the cymbals. But again, no metal should touch the felt. So we put this through the cymbal. This felt will be underneath the cymbal. We secure it with the locking nut and then place the clutch there. The bottom hi-hat will sit here, and I'll show you that in the next segment. This device here is to adjust tension. So I'm turning it, and what's happening is that inside there's a spring, and that spring is expanding to create resistance on the foot pedal. So that is set to personal taste. We're all different. So some cats like their hi-hat stand to be quite loose. Others like a lot of resistance. So we have that option here. Again, big rubber feet to secure the pedal in place. This one does not have spikes on it. It's just rubber feet, so that's good. It'll save your flooring. And another little item here is this little screw. And this screw, as I'm turning it, you'll see that there's a washer. And what that does is that it tilts the bottom hi-hat cymbal so that when you press on the pedal and the 2 hi-hats come together, it gives it a more pronounced chick sound. That's what this screw does, is that it angles the cymbal, and as the 2 cymbals come together, it actually will meet up like that and then clasp together. And when it does so, it'll give you that chick sound. And that is your basic setup for the hardware. All right, now it's time to put the hi-hat cymbals on the hi-hat stand. So a hi-hat cymbal consists of 2 cymbals, a heavier cymbal that we will place on the bottom. Typically the heavier cymbal place on the basket. So simply just take your hi-hat cymbal, place on the basket like so. Now we take our top cymbal, and with the clutch, remove the nut, remove the felt. Remember, no metal should touch the cymbal, except when the 2 hi-hats are together. Take your clutch, insert it in the hole, turn it upside down, take your felt, place it on the hi-hat, clutch, secure with the locking nut, turn it right side up again, and these two items here are top locking nuts to secure the cymbal into the clutch so it's not flopping around. Slide the cymbal onto the upper pull rod, and we're almost there. Two more things have to happen. One is now we're going to push the upper pull rod down slightly. I'm using my finger, but in this case, if you're sitting behind the drum set, you use your foot. About an inch or so. Tighten the clutch, release, and there you have the general position. Some drummers like the cymbal a little wider, some a little tighter. It's all personal preference. But at the end, you get a working hi-hat. All right, next we're going to put a cymbal on a cymbal stand. So what you want to do is remove the wing nut from the stand, remove the top felt, and then we have our cymbal washer here with a cymbal sleeve to protect the threads of the stand and also the hole on the cymbal. We have the bottom felt. Simply put the cymbal on top of the felt like that. Take your piece that you removed, secure it with the wing nut, and we have our cymbal on the stand. You don't want to over tighten it. You want to allow the cymbal to breathe this motion here. Now, our next segment, we're going to put it all together. All right, so we're going to attach the bass drum pedal to the bass drum. And all we do is just simply lift the bass drum up off the floor a little bit. That allows us to slide the kick pedal onto the hoop. We have a little hoop guard here to protect it. And then tighten the wing screws so that the pedal is securely attached. Position the beater so that it'll strike the center of the bass drum. And there you have it. Okay, now that we've assembled all our drums, we put the drum heads on the shells, we've placed the bass drum pedal on the counter hoop, we've put our snare drum on the snare stand, cymbals on the stands, tom-toms on the tom mounts. Now we're going to look at positioning. So while we're seated behind the drum set, we want to make sure that all the different instruments in front of us are within reach with our sticks. We don't want to be overextending, we don't want to be crowded. So basically what you want to do is take your sticks and just reach out to see where things are when you're striking the ride cymbal, striking the crash cymbal, or the hi-hats. So I'm just going to show you some of the little finer points here. And that is, we'll start with the tom-toms. Notice that the tom-toms are angled up slightly. For some players, they can play like this. Others, most of the time, if you're moving around the drum set, you'll end up hitting the counter hoop with your stick. So what you want to do is angle it down a little bit. So just move it down ever so slightly. So a couple of things. One, we've angled the drum so that now when we move around from the snare drum or from the floor tom, we're doing so that we're not going to run into the counter hoops here. The other thing is that the position of the drum, we have enough away from the bass drum that we're not making contact and end up damaging the bass drum. Same goes with the floor tom. Some players like their floor tom flat, others are like them angled. Again, the idea is that the motion, the flow of our arms and the sticks, that as we're moving from one drum to another, nothing is in the way. We're not going to hit anything that we don't want to. Same goes with the snare drum. Now, there's so many different positions with the snare drum. You can play it flat. You can play it face forward, like the old marching snare drums or the old jazz drummers. Or you can play it facing towards you. I typically like it flat, and the reason being is that it's easier for me to do the rim shot, those power shots, bang, bang, bang. Can also do the ghost notes and the softer strokes, but with a flat snare drum, you can really easily play the rim shots. Here I have it angled back. Now with the hi-hat, in context with the hi-hat, again, it's all personal preference, depending on where you want the hi-hat position. For me, the hi-hat here is just a little bit too low. Playing cross stick, I'm going to be hitting sticks, and I don't really want to do that. So what we do is we loosen the clutch, move it up the top cymbal, up the upper pull rod, loosen the wing screw, position the upper pull rod there. Here's our drum key. We now move that memory clamp into a position to secure it. It's not going anywhere. Lower the cymbal. Find position on the hi-hat that gives us a nice chick, a nice splash, and of course the close. So now we have more space here to move. Either we're doing 2 sticks on the hi-hat, 1 stick on the hi-hat, cross stick, or even open stroke here. Notice that the position of the cymbals, they're all within reach, and also the position of the height of the snare drum in relation to the floor tom. You want the floor tom a little lower. Again, just easy access for cross sticking this way. You don't want to go too high, because if you're cross sticking, then you're going to be moving and hitting the drum, and you don't want that. So that's your basic setup and positioning with the tom-toms, the snare drum, the floor tom in relation to the cymbals. One thing that we have to consider also is the position of the drummer, where the drummer is in relation to the snare drum, how close to the bass drum, and also the height. So where I like to sit is that with my thigh not level but slightly down, just to allow me to add more power, more force to the bass drum, kind of getting my full body motion into playing the bass drum. The drummer should be relaxed, should feel relaxed behind the drum set, shouldn't feel forced to move into a position to play another drum. So the height of the throne, very important. You want to, again, feel relaxed, roll those shoulders back, just feel comfortable and breathing naturally when moving around the drum set. So we all sit different heights. We all have our own personal preferences. So it really just depends on what feels comfortable for you. Yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so now we're going to tune the drums. The best place to start is the bass drum. Usually the easiest drum to tune. All you do is take your drum key or drum keys and tighten the drum head to the point where the head loses that ripple and that papery kind of sound. Again, with the floor tom, the tom-toms, you would want to start with the bottom head. That's where you get your sustain. Most drummers like their resonant heads or the bottom heads tuned a little tighter, slightly higher pitch, just for more control. Again, there's tons of different heads out there. The stock heads that come with the Yamaha Stage Custom are the Remo single ply clear heads, good durable heads. And so we'll go through the tuning of the floor tom and the tom-toms and the snare drum as well. All right, so here we have our floor tom and the bottom head, the resonant side. And what we're going to do is going to tune it up with our drum key. Just put it into the tension rod. If you tap on it, it's a little bit on the lower side, so we're just going to tighten up the tension rods. And go opposite sides. I'm doing about a full turn. Tap on each one opposite sides. Okay, so that gives us a starting point. Now we go to the batter side. Let's give it a strike, see what it sounds like. So we've got some sustain there. We've also got a growl and a little bit of a papery sound. So we're going to tune that out. Starting to sound good. Nice sustain, nice balance. There's no papery sound. And a little bit of a growl, but a pleasant tone. That's what we want. We want those pleasant tones. There are muting agents that you can buy: moon gels, zero rings, slap cats, snare weights for the other drums. You can, and what that does is it controls the overtones. So just as an example, if I replace my finger on the head, so little things like that, it dampens the attack, reduces the sustain. But there's your example of tuning the floor tom. So we're going to start off with the bottom head. And what we want to do is take our drum key, place it on the tension rod, and tighten. So just like what we do for all the other drumming, we place the drum key on the tension rods and go opposite sides. So you want to be careful that you don't over tighten, because this is a very thin head to allow the snare wires to rattle off. Otherwise, it will pop and you'll have to get a new drum head. So what we're going to do, again, you can just gently tap around and see that, well, listen for the same tone from the bottom head. We now turn this over, place it on the snare basket, and let's have a listen. This drum needs some tuning. So again, we take our drum key, start at the 3 o'clock position, go over to 9, go to the 12-ish, 7-ish, 2, and I'm tuning this up. I like my snare drum sound typically for most drums to be in the mid to higher range. So I'm doing it by feel. I'm not doing any tapping right now. I'm just doing it by feel. Opposite ends. And let's take a stick and have a listen. So it's a little high. We can always detune it, but we do not have the snare wires engaged. Notice that the throw off is in the off position here, the strainer. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the switch, flip the lever, and it's sounding pretty good right there. It's very tight. It's very high pitched. So if we turn this dial here, notice that we get more snare rattle. Turning it, tight and crisp. So, as I mentioned, I personally like it in the mid to high, a little bit on the high side. So I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to detune again. What I'll do is I'll turn the wires off. So to my ears, that sounds great. And notice that there's slight overtone. If you use, again, a moon gel, some dampening items, notice that those overtones are gone. And that's your basic guide to tuning a snare drum. Okay, now it's time to tune the tom-toms. So this configuration consists of a 10-inch tom-tom, 12-inch tom-tom, and a 16-inch floor tom. And let's have a look. Or should I say, listen. So we'll turn the tom-toms upside down. So they sound pretty good. This one obviously is a higher pitch with a much shorter sustain. This one has a little bit of growl to it, so we're just going to tune it up a little bit. Again, it's all personal preference, but this is a basic guide on how to tune drums. So I like the sound of the resonant heads the way they are. And let's take a look at the bowder. Sounds good to me. Okay, we've assembled the drums, we've tuned them, positioned them. Now it's time to play them. Hey guys, give us a thumbs up if you liked our video, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more information and helpful tips.